Hi everyone. Hope you all are good. We are here for grade 9 math. You can find online lessons at students.com. You have to log in there using your email address and password as provided by the administrator. Then you have to select math from the subject tab. Scroll down to grade 9 math and then click on view all lessons. There you can find a list of the chapters. We going to start with the chapter probability. The lessons we can to cover today are identify independent and dependent events, theoretical probability, experimental probability, compound events, find the number of outcomes. So please make sure you have your notebook and pencil so that you can note down the important examples and definitions as well. Okay, and I'm on grade 9 math. The chapter we're on right now is probability. Let's just start with the first lesson, that is identify independent and dependent events. Steve calls a bakery and orders a custom cake with a certain design. Later that day, Grace calls to order a custom cake. So basically, you have to see, are these two events dependent or independent? So they are the independent events, right? So two events are independent if the outcomes of the first event does not affect the outcome of the second event, right? So whatever design they select, either it is Steve or Grace, they can order. So that is not the dependent event. This is the independent event. Let's just start with the test questions. Steve calls a bakery and order a custom cake. Later that day, Grace calls to order a custom cake. Are these two events dependent or independent? They are the independent events, right? Because the outcomes of the first event did not affect the outcomes of the second event, so they are the independent events. Laura pulls a coin out of her pocket and place it on the table. Then she reached back into her pocket and take out a second coin. Are these two events independent or dependent or independent? They are the dependent events. How? For the first time, for example, you have four coins, right? He took a coin, he pulls a coin and place it on the table. For the second time, he have now one less coin, right? Because he already picks one coin. So the outcomes of the second events are affected by the outcomes of the first event. So that's why they are the dependent events. Got it? Can you pick some marble at random, puts it back, and then picks another marble at random? Are these two events dependent or independent? So they are the independent event because he picks a marble and then put it back. So for the second time, we have exactly the same number of marbles as the first time, right? So they are the independent events. Luna picks a marble at random without putting the first marble back. She picks a second marble at random. Are these two events independent or dependent? So the events are dependent because she didn't put the marble back. So they are the dependent events. Garrett is making a beaded necklace and plans to use each bead color once. Garrett selects a red bead and then reaches for another color. Are these two events dependent or independent? They are the dependent events. In a card game, Wilson picks in the card game, Wilson picks a card from a deck, then but does not put it back into the deck. Afterward, John picks a card from the deck. Are these two events independent or dependent? Because he didn't put the card back. So they are the dependent events. Option number one is the correct option. In history class, Kim has to select a historical figure to dress up as. The injured will select one, two. There are no repeats allowed. Are these two events dependent or independent? So no repeats allowed, right? That means they are the dependent events, right? For example, the choice first one selected, the second one cannot select that choice. We have one choice left. So that means they are the dependent events. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself a little today. Let me just move on to next lesson. The next lesson is theoretical probability. You pick a marble at random. What is the probability of orange? You have only one top orange marble, and the total marbles are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is 1 out of 7. Let's just start with the test questions. You spin the spinner once. What is the probability of prime or factor of 70? The only prime number here is 5, and the only factor of 70 is 5. So the probability of prime or factor of 70 is 1 out of 3. Option number 2 is the correct option. You pick a card at random. Probability of blue is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 blue cards out of 11. That is 6 out of 11. Option number 2 is the correct option. That is 6 out of 11. Flip a coin. What is the probability of tail? You have to write the answer in percentage form, so which is the correct option. That is 50%, right? Because the coin has only two faces, head and tail. So you have 50% chance for head and 50% for tail. You spin the spinner once. What is the probability of prime? Prime number. 2, 3, and 5 are the prime numbers, right? So that is 3 out of 4. The probability is then 75%. Option number 2 is the correct option. You roll a six-sided die. What is the probability of odd? The probability of odd, 50%, because on the die we have six numbers from 1 till 6. Three of the numbers are even and three of the numbers are odd. So the probability is 50%. You pick a marble at random. What is the probability of purple? That is 50% because two of the marbles out of four are purple, so that is 50%. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself here today. Let me just move on to the next lesson. The next lesson is experimental probability. Let's just start with the lesson. At Ice Cream Heaven, 16 of the last 20 Sundays sold have nuts. What is the experimental probability that the next Sunday we sold have nuts? So you need to calculate the probability of nuts. So 16 of them have nuts out of 20. So that is 4 by 5. The probability of nuts is 4 by 5. Let's just start with the test questions. Sasha is watching a baseball game. So far, 2 out of 4 batters have gotten a hit. What is the experimental probability that the next batter will get a hit? So, which is the correct option? The correct option is 1 by 2. Option number 2 is the correct option. Of the last 20 contestants on a game show, 8 won a prize. What is the probability, experimental probability that the next contestant will win a prize? That is 8 over 12. That equals 2 by 3. Option number 2 is the correct option. Yesterday, a car rental agency rented 12 vehicles, of which three were pickup trucks. What is the experimental probability that the first vehicle rented today will be a pickup truck? That is 1 by 4. Option number 1 is the correct option. Restaurants often slip takeout menus under Jamal's apartment door. So far, Jamal has collected 20 menus, including 10 of the Japanese food. What is the experimental probability that the next menu slipped under Jamal's door will be from a Japanese restaurant? That is 1 by 2. Option number 1 is the correct option. Shelby scored a goal in 5 out of her last 20 shots. What is the experimental probability that Shelby will score a goal on her next shot? So, which is the correct option? That is 1 out of 4. Option number 1 is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to the next lesson. Events currently outcomes, number of outcomes. So when you have more than one event, they are known as the compound events. We need to find the outcomes of the compound events. So you have to multiply the outcomes of both the events to find the outcome of the compound event. For example, here you are given two of the two events. One of them is a dice and two of the cards. So the outcome of this event is 6 and this is 2. So outcome of the combined event is 12. Option number 2 is the correct option. 12 it is. You pick a card and spin the spinner. So how many outcomes are possible? So for the cards, you have 6 outcomes. And for the spinner, you have 4 outcomes. So the total outcomes for the event are 24. Option number 2 is the correct option. That is 24. Option number 2 is the correct option. 24 it is. You spin the spinner and flip a coin. How many outcomes are possible? That is 8. Option number 1 is the correct option. You pick a card and pick a marble. How many outcomes are possible? Derivative. Option number 1 is the option. You spin the spinner and flip a coin. How many outcomes are possible? That is 10. Option number 2 is the correct option. You spin the spinner and pick a card. How many outcomes are possible? That is 14. Option number 1 is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. So we were working on grade 9 math. The chapter we were working on is probability. And the lessons we have covered today are identify independent events, theoretical probability, experimental probability, and compound events, finding number of outcomes. So please make sure before the next session you can complete all the practice questions for the lesson you just did. That is your homework until next session. So if you need more help with any of the lessons, you can simply click on the live chat button. Tutors are available there to help you. Either you can write down the question in the chat box. I'm here to answer all your questions and confusions if you have any. So you can please ask questions if you have no questions. Okay, you can